Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bowerly.
Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. We're here Friday afternoon to talk about your studs and duds of week 2, and we're also going to review Thursday Night Football with the Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills. We have a jam-packed show. I don't want to waste too much time, so let's get Justin Bowerly in and speak about week 2. What's going on, Justin?
What's up, man? It sounds like we both have had quite the work day today. So
It's been awful.
Let's talk about fantasy football instead.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm also sick. I feel like, I know, right?
Sick.
I can't wait to cancel a show 10 minutes before the show time next week. It's going to be like Wednesday night, 7:50. So, new time, by the way, 7:20. Because we're going to be live on Wednesdays at 7:30 now. So, I'll be here at 7:20 going, guys, I can't do the show. Just exit out. That's what I did last year. I'm going to do it again. I can tell.
Didn't Dave and I run the show that week?
Yeah, and it was awesome.
You just called in sick at the last minute. You didn't have to be the guy.
I didn't call in sick. I showed up to work and I said, guys, I'm not doing this.
You did. That is true. You did. It was like one of those, you showed up to the office and you're like, you sat down and you're like, nope. And then you just went home instead.
I pulled who was that one player for the Bills who retired in the first quarter? Or like
Vontae Davis.
Pull Vontae Davis. I'm like, I'm here. I'm leaving. I've had fun, guys. But let's get into let's get into Thursday Night Football, man. What a disaster. We are on the Finstock Sports Network. That's important to notate that whenever I do break down this game or talk about this game or the embarrassment of this game. But we're here to talk fantasy football. Keon Coleman disappointed, dropped a huge goose egg. Don Kincaid disappointed, only gave you 4 catches. Josh Allen disappointed because he didn't need to do anything. Tua disappointed because Tua. And Tyreek disappointed because Tua. So what are your thoughts on this game? Exactly, because I have a whole lot.
This is bad. I mean, bad for only 2 players in fantasy football did anything yesterday. And if I had to put my money on Devon Achane and James Cook being the top 2 fantasy options from this game, with a game that includes Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Dalton Kincaid, I would call you absolutely crazy. But this is the world we're living in. Devon Achane, James Cook were the leaders last night.
Yeah, they were. James Cook just destroyed last night. And I should have seen this coming. I should have told everybody to start James Cook. And I'm so sorry that I did not, because we saw what Travis Etienne did to the Miami Dolphins. We saw what Travis Etienne did to the Miami Dolphins.
This guy said to start James Cook.
I mean, everyone, no, but not one.
Nobody's sitting James Cook. I know, but I was like, start him with confidence. Start him with confidence.
All right, we're victory lapping here on this week 2 edition of OUSFF Pod. But I will say this: victory laps can end very quickly, so take it now while you can.
Yeah,
we saw what Travis Etienne did against the Miami Dolphins defense week 1. He looked phenomenal. James Cook looks phenomenal last night again. This might be a trend moving forward. We always find out the start your tight ends versus this team. Start your receivers versus this team. It might be start your running backs against the Miami Dolphins because they have no answers. And I know Etienne and Cook are like top end talent, but guys, it's not going to get easier. You still got Ramondre Stevenson coming in. You have multiple teams with great running backs coming into Miami, or Miami's going to them. It's going to be a situation where I think, hey, start the guy that's playing against Miami weekly. It's sad. But at least we know now. At least we know who does Miami got up next. Start that guy. That's my start of the week, guys. Whoever Miami plays next, start that running back.
Seattle, so Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker, baby, to the moon, because they took a huge hit on that defensive line. Wilkins is a huge deal, and they lost him. It's unfortunate. But anyway, that's Thursday night. Tua got hurt again. It's not fun. Actually, it's pretty sad. I didn't see the play yet. I turned this game off at half because I'm an old man and I'm sick. But I did wake up to the news. About 55 text messages. Oh, Tua. Oh, Tua. And it's sad to see. This is someone we wanted to see succeed. He looked really good. He looked thinner. He looked stronger. and then he just got concussed again and left the game. I'm worried about his health. I'm worried about him, and I'm worried about him as a person. But I'm not worried about fantasy points right now. Justin, how would you moving forward right here?
It was really hard to watch. I didn't even watch the game yesterday. I just saw the highlights, and yeah, it's tough. I mean, his stat line before the injury, like I was already like, is Tua like completely droppable at this point? Like, is he worth rostering in short one QB leagues? And then I saw the injury, and then I'm just God, that like that hurt to watch. Like, just as a fan of the NFL and just a fan of people in general, like to see Tua have another traumatic injury like that, and when he crunched up in a ball, that was awful.
Yeah, I have not, to be honest, I have not seen it. I have not had the desire to go watch it because I don't want to be depressed on this Friday morning, this Friday 13th edition. But I will eventually go back and watch the second half of that game. To be honest with you, before the injury and before the interceptions, Tua was having a decent game, throwing it right on their chest. Balls are bouncing off of receivers, getting deflected in the air, intercepted. I'm not making excuses for the guy, but come on, man. Can we get some help for this guy? He threw it to backup receivers that just can't catch. And Tua did make some bad plays. There was one play in particular that made me very, very happy when he stepped up into the pocket, threw it to Jalen Waddle on a slant, froze that linebacker with his legs, with his running ability, which he didn't have last year, and actually made that awesome throw to Waddle. Didn't see a lot of that last night, but that was good to see. Hopefully he can get back on the field and be productive moving forward. I don't think he plays next week at all, even on a long week.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Skylar
other
time, baby.
Yeah. So the other injury news here, Hollywood Brown will be placed on short-term IR. He's having a minor surgery to probably fix his shoulder injury. So he's out for at least 4 more weeks. So
Hey, more time to stream Call of Duty, baby. Let's do it. Fire up the Twitch. Didn't he say that? Didn't remember 2 years ago when they're like, oh, he's gonna retire because he wants to be a streamer? Remember that?
no, I've
You
never
don't
rostered Hollywood Brown, so I
well,
not to worry about him.
Well, I roster Hollywood Brown, and I think he's going to be great if he ever gets on the field with Patrick Mahomes. But yep, slide him in your IR spot. It's a Rashi Rice show for moving forward, as always has been. And let's see Xavier Worthy get more than 3 targets or more than 3 touches a game.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to start talking about studs and duds. We're like almost 10 minutes into the start of the show here. So, first game of the week, Cowboys at Saints, 1:00. We're going to talk about all the first. What?
It's just so funny that last week, I'm sure it was a great show with you and Derek, and you guys were like, boom, to the point. And it's like, Josh is here. It's like, I'm just going to talk about stuff that doesn't make sense. Like just now. And I'm just going to add minutes to the show, and you're going to give me that look. And you're going to text me afterwards like, Josh, we said an hour. And I'm like, so sorry, I'll do better next time. And I never do better next time. Like never. So let's keep it going.
It's your
Saints
show,
and
man. We're
Cowboys.
just living here. All right. So, early games to start off with, we're going to talk about the Saints and Cowboys. This has a potential. I saw on ESPN upset alert for the Cowboys this week. Like, are the Saints going to upset the Cowboys? I think this is a possibility. The Saints looked good. I know they played the Panthers last week, but they looked pretty good, even with Chris Olave not getting any kind of production. So let's talk about the for sure studs of this game, Josh. Who do you have as 3 studs of this game?
Oh, I only get 3? I'm only allowed 3.
Well, you can have 3. I'll take 3, and then we'll talk about people that are people are starting that we think are going to be duds this week.
It's obvious. CD, Olave, and Kamara. Those are the 3 I would start.
Yeah.
That's just too obvious for me. Do you have anyone else that you would pick?
So you took the 3, obviously. Those are the easy ones.
Mm-hmm.
Other people that are probably going to end up getting started this week include Rashid Shaheed, Foster Moreau. People might be looking at Derek Carr this week. Zeke Elliott had a touchdown last week. The only other real stud that I could see in this game is Dak Prescott. He is a starting fantasy quarterback in the league. You would agree, right?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. So those are probably the 4 studs of this game. I'm still very cautious with Derek Carr. I'm still very cautious with Rashid Shaheed. And then honestly, I probably would not start Foster Moreau this week.
Oh, but you picked him up for like $80, right?
50, but we're not talking about it here, Josh.
$50. You got to start him for $50.
$40 budget, man. That's like nothing. So it's fine. It's fine.
$50. Okay.
It's fine.
All right. Here's someone that you're not even bringing up right now. And we'll talk. You know what? We'll talk about Rashid Shaheed right now. Rashid Shaheed, a lot of people are going to start him because he is explosive, but he's one of those players who's a yo-yo player. He can go up or down. He only had 3 catches last week, guys. 5 targets. I'm not starting any running back or any receiver with confidence with only 5 targets. That's all I'll say. I'm very cautious of Rashid Shaheed. So if you start him in there, please use it with caution. Zeke Elliott, someone I'm also cautious with. 10 attempts last week, 40 yards, 4.0 yards per carry. That's what we want from our running back, right? Pretty good. He scored a touchdown. If you get him going and you get a lead, if they get a lead, I'm okay with Zeke because he could fall into the end zone. I think Zeke's going to have a good bounce back year, but not phenomenal, just good.
All right. Anybody else? I don't think there's any. People might be curious about Brandon Cooks this week, but I think that was a fluke touchdown. You can't rely on a touchdown every week from Brandon Cooks at this point. Nope. Like CeeDee Lamb is that offense.
Definitely not. That's a good question in the chat.
Drop Jalen Wright for Bucky Irving non-PPR.
Yes. Because you know why? I'll tell you why. Jalen Wright already played. He's not going to help you moving forward on Sunday. Drop him now because he already played his game last night.
If you can. Some leagues lock that spot after you play. You can't drop him. So
yeah, but those leagues are dumb. So pick up Jalen Wright or drop Jalen Wright and pick up Bucky Irvin just in case because Jalen Wright already played. Yes.
Next matchup here, Buccaneers, Lions, 1:00 also. So obviously your studs of this game, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jahmyr Gibbs, Baker Mayfield.
Whoa.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
We're talking about QB2 of week 1. Baker Mayfield against the Lions. We saw what Matthew Stafford did last week. He still put up pretty good numbers. And Cooper Kupp did a lot in that slot, which means Chris Godwin is going to score a lot this week, which only looks good for Baker Mayfield. I think this is Chris Godwin's, or should I say Rod Godwin's? Is that his name? Rod God? His true name? Did you see that?
Who calls him Rod God?
Chris Godwin's real first name is Rod. Not Roderick? Chris, it's Rod.
Is it Roderick?
I don't know, but the fact that he doesn't go by Rod God is disappointing. So I think those are 5 must starts this week. Would you agree?
Yeah, those are 5 must starts. You also missed out David Montgomery. I think he's a must start as well. Even though the Buccaneers don't like to give up a lot of yards on the ground, I do expect Montgomery to get the goal line carries over Gibbs. I can never bench Montgomery, especially in that offense with the Detroit Lions and what they like to do. It's hard to say, start both running backs, but in this situation you can because we saw last week they both produced and Dave Montgomery pretty much, I think Montgomery outproduced. And we're also forgetting Sam Laporta. He's an instant start. We can't discount what he did. Like last week was every tight end S the bed. Every single tight end. Can't take week 1 and then just throw it in the air. You have to understand that Sam Laporta is going to bounce back. But the problem with Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown is there you go. You just highlighted his name. Jameson Williams is now involved. And they're going to get him involved. So that's taking pieces away from other guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. So in the future, I'm kind of worried about their usage because Sun God lived off of volume. And if he's not getting the same volume, he's not going to be in the top 5 like we expected because Jameson Williams is going to chip away at it. And maybe Amon-Ra is just a 15 to 12 kind of guy. And
Here's the true problem with a lot of these very, very great fantasy options, especially the wide receivers, is that if you look back historically, the greatest fantasy options are always on teams that have no one. Sun God had literally just rookie Sam Laporta last year, and then 2 running backs. Now the Lions are starting to beef up. They're starting to get better, which means they can spread the ball more. So we're looking at teams that are getting more and more options on the offense. and it's going to reduce because they want to get the ball out to everyone instead of just one specific person. And I think that's where we're going to see the Bears having issues with fantasy players. The Packers might be an issue with all of their receivers that they have to feed, all of these lesser known people. We see this all over the NFL, and I think the Lions are starting to see that more.
I agree.
Two guys that we just talked about, Jameson Williams, Rashad White, I'm still very cautious about. He didn't have the greatest week one. And the Lions defense is pretty stacked, especially that front seven. So I am very cautious about them this week. Is there one player that you will not start this week on these two teams?
Cade Otton. I've seen people drop or they've been Cade Otton's gonna be this and that. Guys, 2 targets last week, 1 catch, 5 yards. Cade Otton's not a factor. He will never be a factor. I've seen too many players draft him all over last weekend and last month in general.
Yeah.
He's droppable. He's literally droppable.
I started Cade Otton over Isaiah Likely last week.
You're ridiculous. Get out of the show. You're fired.
All right, bye.
Yeah, he's fired. All right, Colts and Packers. We have the Colts and Packers here. Jeez, Cade Otton. You really started Cade Otton?
I did. It was one of those like it's like League 15 that I'm looking at, and I'm just like, okay, sure.
Cade Otton.
Against my better judgment, man.
Let's go to your
move
Colts.
on. Yeah, Colts, Packers this week. Here's the thing.
Oh,
there's two players in this entire matchup that I would 100% start. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor had not a great start to his fantasy season last week. Whatever. Anthony Richardson's a must start. Jonathan Taylor's a must start. Michael Pittman Jr. is borderline must start. He didn't get a lot of targets as we'd all hope. Alec Pierce finished wide receiver 9. I don't see that happening every week.
I thought it was Alex.
Alec Pierce with a C.
Okay. But Alex Pierce, you want to start?
No, don't start Alex Pierce either. He will literally score you 0 fantasy points because he's not available. So Michael Pittman Jr., I'm a little cautious on, but you drafted him to be one of your top wide receiver options. You have to start him this week. Don't pull him out yet. Flip side of the ball, we got Malik Willis throwing the ball to Jaden Reed. We all decided that Jaden Reed is that offense, right? Like that's who it is, right?
Christian Watson was targeted early and often, early on, but he was dropping balls. So it looks like Christian Watson, in my opinion, was the number 1 guy there, but Jaden Reed was the biggest playmaker. But you don't want to start any of these guys.
70-yard play, which would have finished him wide receiver 12 without that 1 touchdown. So that is pretty interesting. Honestly, the entire Packers wide receiver room, I'm very cautious about. If you have to start them, start them. I think you're going to start Jaden Reed just because you're hoping that production is going to be there. Like I mentioned on Wednesday when we talked about Jaden Reed, the Colts secondary is nothing. So if you can get the ball out after 3 seconds, you're going to do well. You're going to get those receptions, but you're playing with Malik Willis at this point. So very cautious about all those wide receivers. Alec Pierce, I'd be very cautious about as well. I put Ashton Dulin on here also because he scored like 12, 13 points last week because he also had a long touchdown. I'm very cautious about anybody outside the top 3 of the Colts players here.
Who were the quarterbacks in Malik Willis' class? It was Desmond Ridder,
Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis,
and who was the last one? There was one more, but I'll say this: the only Senior Bowl I ever covered was the year Malik Willis came out, and I said Malik Willis was the best quarterback out there, 1,000%. He looked the best. Well, now we see Desmond Ridder's out of the league. We see Kenny Pickett's out of the league. And who's the other person? Who's the other bum we mentioned out of the league?
So we got, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, and I'm pretty sure it was Matt Corral.
There you go. So
Bailey Zappi.
There you go. So all
Sam
those guys.
Howell.
So out of those, Sam Howell. All those guys are pretty much out of the league or backups right now. So
There's
my stance of Malik Willis can still be true, baby. Malik Willis is starting a football game in 2024, and those guys aren't. That's all I'm saying.
There's one person that's going to be better than him forever.
Who's that?
Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
Oh, Brock Purdy. God darn it. Either way, Malik Willis has a chance to be the second best, and let him get a shot. He's got weapons. He's going to have a full week of practicing. I'm just trying to talk myself off a cliff here. Let's go, Malik Willis. I believe in you. Get the ball to your receivers and just hand it off to Josh Jacobs because he's a must start. I don't know why you don't green him yet. Put the green tag on him. Start him with confidence.
Yes, he did well. So are you saying start Malik Willis this week? Is that what you're saying?
No,
we are not starting Malik Willis.
But I have hope.
I don't even care if you have Jordan Love. Go figure out a different quarterback option. Do not start Malik Willis. Also, do not start any Colts tight end.
There you go.
Period.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If you had to pick one of the four, Dobbs, Watson, Reed, or Wicks, who do you feel more comfortable with?
I mean, like you said, Christian Watson had the most targets, so I'd probably lean towards Watson. Reed had the he got the points from his big plays. That's the biggest thing. So it's like a Rashid Shaheed, it's like an Alec Pierce, but will those big plays happen every time? I would be going with Christian Watson. He's bigger, he's physical, and he can really bully the Colts secondary. So
yeah, okay. There we go. Oh, Justin left the show. It's just me. Oh, boy. You don't want me just running. Josh Wingate in the chat. Do you want to jump in and help out a little bit? Here we go. Jets and Titans. Here he is. We got Aaron Rodgers versus Will Levis. We have the GOAT versus the mayonnaise guy. This one is very difficult for me to actually break down because I think the Jets have been very underwhelming, but you got to start Brees. You got to start Garrett Wilson. And do you have to start Allen Lazard? Are we starting Mr. 9-target Allen Lazard? Mr. Familiarity? Mr. Solid? Mr. I'm going to catch 5 balls and be targeted in the end zone? I think I'm starting Allen Lazard this week. I think I am. If I have no other option, if I have T. Higgins and he's still not playing and I had to go pick up Allen Lazard, I'm okay. If I had Jaden Reed and I had to go pick up Allen Lazard.
So no hesitation. You're just going to start Allen Lazard.
If I have a player like a T. Higgins or Jaden Reed or somebody that took a downfall, yes.
Let me ask you, if you have Christian Kirk or Allen Lazard, which one are you starting?
Christian Kirk.
Amari Cooper or Allen Lazard?
Lazard.
Josh Palmer, Allen Lazard.
Lazard.
Malik Neighbors, Allen Lazard.
Neighbors.
Tyler Lockett or Allen Lazard?
Lazard.
There you go, guys. So that I think that gives you enough of a figuring out where we stand here. Allen Lazard had a great game. Who knows? This could have been Allen Lazard all of last year. We didn't see it because Aaron Rodgers wasn't there. They didn't have the familiarity. So I don't hate the fact that you want to start Allen Lazard this week. Just temper your expectations. Maybe he doesn't score 20 plus points this week. Maybe he scores 10. Maybe he scores 8. Yeah, but temper your expectations to what this could actually be. The Titans were not great. Their defense was the best thing about it last week.
Hey,
but the Jets offensive line is a lot better than the Bears offensive line. So,
yep. And Aaron Rodgers is a lot better than Caleb Williams, to be completely
flip
fair.
side on the Titans, you got Will Levis, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Chig Okonkwo. Remember, Chig is one of 5 tight ends that scored a touchdown in week 1. I'm not going to lie to you. I would not start a single one of these guys.
Yo, put them all red. All of them.
All red?
No.
Tony Pollard would be the only player that I could potentially see myself starting if I have him.
I agree. I went down.
But you probably don't have him. If you have him, you went 0 running back. You drafted him to be RB2 or maybe a bench player that could come in during bye weeks. So if that's the chance, if he is your RB2, start him.
Jordan Mason went wild on the Jets. That's all I got to say. Jordan Mason went wild. So I'm sure Tony Pollard can too.
Let's talk about Vikings 49ers. This is a big game. Christian McCaffrey has been practicing this week. He says he's ready for Sunday, but that Achilles, I'm worried about him. He's a guy that if he's going to play and he's 100% ready to go, you start him. If he's not, obviously take him out, put Jordan Mason in. But let's talk about everybody other than Christian McCaffrey in this game.
Can I say something real quick about CMC?
Sure.
If he's a game time decision and he's like, you still start him. If he's good enough to go, if he thinks he's good enough to go, you have to start him. And if he's limited or if it's a decoy situation, that just comes with the game. right? You don't want to be that guy who sits him. That's what I'll say. So CMC, if he is active, he is in your lineup. If he is not, you put in Jordan Mason. You can move on.
Correct. Everybody else, Debo, Brandon Ayuk. You starting those guys? I mean, you drafted him to start.
I ain't draft Brandon Ayuk. I ain't draft no crybaby.
I didn't either. George Kittle, I think you're definitely starting. Justin Jefferson, you're obviously starting. I think Aaron Jones, you're starting.
Oh yeah, you're starting.
Aaron Jones is great, and he's ready for this game. So, of the quarterbacks, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, who are you starting either of those? Like Brock Purdy did not have a good game. He finished in the bottom 20s. Sam Darnold finished in the middle of the pack.
I'm not starting Sam Darnold, but I'm starting Brock Purdy in a 12-team league. I am starting him still. The Viking secondary isn't great at all. They're kind of pretty bad, and Viking Dave would tell you that. So I have faith. It was just a one-game situation where he played the Jets on a Monday night, week 1. CMC, his best player, was out. Now they have a whole week to adjust and get ready for the Vikings. I do think that the Viking secondary is a lot different than the Jets secondary, same as their pass rush and linebacking crew as well. I'm starting Brock Purdy with confidence this week. He's a top 8 guy moving forward. I am not sleeping on Brock Purdy like I have all year. Watch this be the 1 year, though, I do get on board with Brock Purdy and he sucks. Watch. Because I doubted him his entire career.
In his contract year. Like this would be perfect for him.
This is the first time.
In his contract year, this is not the time to fail. So Jordan Addison is a guy that I am not going to start this week. I've actually been pulling him out of my starting lineups and putting him on my bench. He's been questionable all week. He got hurt in last week's game. Now you got to go up against a tough 49ers defense. I don't think I'm going to start him. Where Sam Darnold can get the ball to Aaron Jones, he can get the ball to Justin Jefferson. That's all you need on that offense is Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones. So I'm sitting Jordan Addison this week. I don't love it, but I am.
Okay. I have no Lazard over Addison.
Yes. Patriots, Seahawks.
Viking Dave in the chat can't show up to the show, but he wants to let everyone know he's not playing. I figured he wasn't playing. That's why I was okay with it.
And that's why we're benching him. So Seahawks, Patriots, 1:00. Geno Smith versus Jacoby Brissett. Who would have thought 5 years ago that this would be the Patriots Seahawks matchup that we're talking about?
In week 2. Sounded like someone got hurt.
In week 2. These are the starting quarterbacks. We talked about this earlier this show. Kenneth Walker. I think you start him. I think Ramondre had a great game. Ramondre is the offense for the Patriots. If you go back and look at every player on the Patriots, including Jacoby Brissett, nobody scored more than Ramondre. Nobody got close to Ramondre. Ramondre outscored everybody by at least 10 points.
That's my guy.
So I can't believe I'm saying RB55 is a must start this week against the Seahawks defense. DK Metcalf is another player that I am starting this week.
Man, DK screwed me last week, but you got to start him. And I wouldn't even. Is there a receiver on the Patriots that you would even think about starting? No. It's sad. It's a sad world. That's why Ramondre is the only person you can actually start on this offense. You can go ahead and read out every single person on the Patriots because I'm not starting any of them. Not even thinking about it.
And in fact, you probably don't have any of them.
No, there's no way unless you're in super, super, super deep leagues and you're a psychopath. On the Seahawks side, I love Kenneth Walker and DK Metcalf. What about JSN? I'm just wary about him. They got to get him involved sometime. They don't want to waste their first round pick. It's week 2. Get him involved. I would put a yellow on him. I think they're going to get him more involved. DK didn't really do much last week. He couldn't even reach 52 yards. I think he had 36 yards.
Josh said maybe no, that's the wrong one. DK had only 4 targets last week. He's trash cut him.
Well, yeah, he exactly. That game was so bad. I left the games. I middle of the game. They scored a million points and DK Metcalf did nothing. So where did the points come from? Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. Let's move on to a super exciting game here. Giants, Commanders. Commanders are actually kind of fun to watch fantasy-wise. Both Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler had double-digit fantasy points last week. Jaden Daniels had several touchdowns on the ground and in the air. I think all 3 of those guys, I think Jaden Daniels and Brian Robinson, you for sure start. I think if you have to start at Austin Eckler, which I do in several leagues, you start Austin Eckler. He is the proven pass catcher, whereas Brian Robinson is the true running back. On the flip side,
I love how you just said, I don't want to talk about Terry McLaurin because I want Josh to shut up. So just bench Terry McLaurin. Cut Terry McLaurin. Cut him.
don't cut Terry McLaurin. But
You can. And Derek, you can clip this and save it, just like my Kyle Pitts week 2 said cut him last year. It worked out. Cut Terry McLaurin. He'll never produce for you. It's over. It's over.
On the flip side, the Giants.
Yes, the G-Men. The G-Men have Malik Neighbors, Devin Singletary. They have Wan'Dale Robinson. Why is Tracy? Who's that Tracy guy? Why is he not on this list?
Tracy who? Oh, Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah.
Is he fantasy relevant?
I don't know, but everyone liked him on Twitter, so I figured he'd be something.
He scored 1 point. He's projected 3. So
if you went on Twitter all the offseason, he was the hot thing. So I want to know where it is.
Of the rookies, I mean, the rookie running backs, and you think Devin Singletary is probably not going to produce. I'm not starting a single Giants player. I don't even care.
No, you have to start Malik Neighbors. You have to, because you saw what the Buccaneers were able to do against the Commanders. Baker Mayfield, Mr. Dangerous, scored 4 touchdowns. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to be a baller this week, but I did see enough to know he can get the ball to Malik Neighbors. I did see that, and I was wrong. And I think he can actually produce a top 24 season out of Malik Neighbors. I'm never going to bench Malik Neighbors because he has...
No, he did get 11 points, so somebody on that offense has to do something, I think, but he's the only player.
Yep, he's the only player I'd start, for sure.
Chargers, Panthers. J.K. Dobbins, 20 points. You starting him this week?
Of course.
Are you cautious?
No. You have to fire him up. How many weeks do we have to see? How many weeks do you have to see it in a row to feel comfortable?
I want to see him play 5 games.
Okay, and that was my next question is, does he even get to 5 games? So start him while you have him. Smoke him while you have him. Start him while you have him. Don't hold off on this guy. I'm not saying he's going to get hurt, but if he does, you want to get his fantasy points now rather than when you cannot do that. So Josh, J.K. Dobbins is probably the only person besides Ladd McConkey that I'm starting in this offense.
You're so obsessed with Ladd McConkey. It's a little crazy.
I'm not obsessed. I'm just saying I would start him.
I mean, what did Ladd do to you? 14-9.
That was a beast last week, bro.
All right, Ladd McConkey, fire him up.
Yeah.
So fire up Ladd McConkey against the Panthers. Honestly, I mean, we saw exactly what happened to the Panthers last week. Everybody scored. I'm almost firing up Josh Palmer this week too. Yeah. He got no fight. He's ready to go.
Stop.
No Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer thing experience is over, guys. Stop.
No. He was such a great. Oh,
yeah, it was so cool to pick up every time Keenan Allen got
best
hurt.
Ball in like 15th round.
Yeah,
okay.
So cool.
Justin Herbert, you starting him this week?
No.
Okay.
There's too many other options. Give me Baker. Give me.
Obviously, I think you're sitting Bryce Young, Deontay Johnson. You starting Deontay? You sitting Deontay?
No, I need to see it first. I need to see more volume. I need to see more offense. I need to see anything. Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders. I'm not starting you. I'm not starting anyone on the Panthers. I don't have any Panthers. I do have Chuba, but I did cut him in a league. I already cut Chuba. He's off my roster.
Well, I think that's really the only starting material. If you have Gus Edwards, I think you can bench him this week, and you could probably cut him next. Actually, no, we said cut him on Wednesday, didn't we? Or Tuesday?
Yeah, he's old.
So so I'm not even gonna read him because he's not a non-factor in fantasy football now.
Yeah, all right.
Jaguars, Browns. I'm sitting Amari Cooper this week.
Yeah, I'm sitting Amari Cooper. I'm sitting Jerry Jeudy. Although I forgot Jerry Jeudy still played football, to be completely honest with you people.
The only Brown I'm starting this week is Jerome Ford. He is the only person on that offense that's actually producing. Flip side, Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr., Evan Ingram, I think are your starts for the Jaguars. I don't think you play Trevor Lawrence this week.
Whoa, why you hating on Christian Kirk? Why are you hating on Christian Kirk? What are we hating on Christian Kirk for? The dude was getting targets. He just wasn't coming down with the ball. Against the Cleveland Browns, where we saw Brandon Cook score, we didn't see a one dominant performance by CD Lamb. It was spread out everywhere.
4 targets.
Yeah, well, those 4 targets look good. You know what's funny about that? And I know Dirtbag Dave is watching. We're at the sports book, and we're like, Christian Kirk. And we left the game, and we were looking at stats. Like, didn't Christian Kirk have like 15 catches? No, he didn't, apparently. We thought he did at the time. It was all Brian Thomas Jr. and everyone else. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be the best rookie out of this class.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed. I'm not starting Christian Kirk this week. I don't think he's going to do that well. Just
all right.
If you have to start him, start him. Too many people drafted him to be one of their top 2 wide receivers, not a flex. And I'm sorry, but that was a mistake in the draft for you. Raiders, Ravens. Obviously, you're starting Lamar Jackson. Obviously, you're starting Zay Flowers. Obviously, you're starting Devontae Adams. Outside of those 3, I'm starting Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Because on Wednesday, I said start Brock Bowers if you have to pick Bowers over Kincaid, and I said Bowers.
Well,
I'm sticking by it. Start Brock Bowers. However, now Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Who are you starting this week if you have both?
Man, you got to stick with Andrews one more time. You have to think that Isaiah Likely thing was a fluke, or maybe not a fluke because he's really good at football, but maybe it was a coverage issue. I've seen many people on Twitter talk about like he was bracketed and all these terms that, us fantasy guys don't really care about. But we should. Yes, he was bracketed. He was double covered, triple covered, but you still got to start him. He's Old Faithful, but I am concerned. If it's another week like last week, I'm starting Likely moving forward. And it's just mainly because of his age. He's getting older, coming off that injury. Maybe he doesn't have the acceleration or the burst he may have had in previous years. And Likely has that. Likely is a perfect weapon for Lamar Jackson. Likely's better to me than Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. I would prefer Likely as the number 1 target there if I was running the show. If I was running that team, Likely would be my number 1 alpha.
Yeah, he's built like a wide receiver, 6'4", 247. That's a little bigger than a wide receiver that you usually see, but I mean, he's slim.
And Zay Flowers is a possession guy, 4 catches for 40 yards. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
he looks good doing it.
I will say this: in Likely's career, every time he scores 15 plus points, he follows it up with another 15-point game. So like last year in week 14, he had 19.3. The next week he had 18. Then 2 weeks later, he had 18.2, but he followed it up with 11. So he's always following up his games with the double-digit points. The last time he did not do that was his rookie season in week 8, where he scored 19 and then 9 and then fell off for quite a bit. I think this is going to be another game where Likely does well against the Raiders. So
it's likely that Likely does well. You can throw the caution sign over there on Jacoby Myers. He is still getting targeted with Gardner Minshew at the realm. I think Jacoby Myers is a deeper play, obviously. If you're in trouble, if T. Higgins doesn't play and you roster him, or these other, like Jordan Addison, he's out. So he's definitely someone that's a sleeper pick that can get you 6 catches on any given day. Zamir White, I don't want to start Zamir White.
I'm not.
I don't. No. You're not. You could write him out then.
I'm going to write him out.
And I'm not starting Madison either. Write him out.
That's fair. Now, are you going to start 13 carry, 1 touchdown Derrick Henry, or 1 carry but like a million receptions?
He didn't get a million receptions, people, but I would start in this game. Derrick
6
Henry.
receptions, 8 targets.
So here's how I'm going to play the Derrick Henry game. If I think it's the game they're going to win and going away winning and dominate, I'm starting Derrick Henry. If it's a game where it's close, like the Chiefs, I'm going Justice Hill. But yes, Derrick Henry is my start for that team, not Justice Hill.
All right.
I mean, that makes sense, right? They're not going to be throwing from behind. So
I agree. Late games. We're going to get to the late games here. That's more for Derek than for us. Late games. First one we got here, if I can switch the overlays, Cardinals, Rams, 4:05, I should say. Cooper Kupp is back, I think. Cooper Kupp is he's a guy again.
22 targets. What was it? 20 something targets?
Did he have that many targets? That's
It was a bananas amount of targets. It was like
a million targets. 21 targets, 14 receptions, 110 yards, 1 touchdown for 32 points.
He said, "Suck it, Justin. I'm going to be the MVP."
He did. He specifically said, "Justin on OUS, you suck." I think you're starting Cooper. I think you're starting Kyron. You have to start Marvin Harrison Jr. this week.
I think it's odd that you start a punt returner in your running back position, but I'm down for it. Kyron Williams is cool. I guess
that was my joke for all of draft season. Is man, I think it's really odd that you drafted a punt returner in the 2nd round. But hey, you do you.
But we're gonna see if that changes because we know the Rams like to change their running backs out of nowhere. So it could be the Blake Corum show at any time. We just don't know when. And it's just we're gonna have to monitor that situation. I truly do not still believe in Kyron Williams. I still don't think he's gonna be a top 12 guy. But in this week, in week 2 against the Cardinals, he's gonna have to be. I'm cautious about Greg Dortch. I think he's gonna be good. Not great, not league winner, but it seemed like when the plays broke down, Kyler went to him and not Marvin Harrison. We all know the infamous play where Marvin was 20 yards wide open. He still went to Greg Dortch.
What do you think about Michael Wilson? He had 2 targets, 1 reception, but that 1 reception was a 5-yard touchdown. I'm not starting him for that.
Cool. Start Gesicki too, then, if you think that way. Cool.
There you go. Not starting Michael Wilson. Cautious about Greg Dortch. Steelers, Broncos.
Whoa, we forgot a main person.
Kyler Murray.
No.
Start Kyler Murray.
That's an easy one. Why do we not name James Conner as an auto start? The dude won't die. The dude won't go away.
That's true. Go 19 points. Okay, I don't roster enough James Conner to know that he did really well, but I guess you're auto starting James Conner this week against the Rams defense. There's no Aaron Donald, so
yes,
that helps.
Always play. Everyone was like, "Oh, Benson's gonna do this," and no. Connor knows how to pass pro. Connor knows how to protect his quarterback, and Connor knows how to get the job done. It's not sexy. It's not fun, but it works.
So you're almost starting the entire Cardinals offense. The only players that you're not starting are definitely not Michael Wilson, and you're cautious about 11-point Greg Dortch.
I'm thinking about benching Marvin Harrison this week, but that's just me. But I understand why you wouldn't.
I feel like you can't yet.
If
he doesn't do anything, then I mean,
if I have
that's true. If you have I'll cautious him. If you have to start Marvin Harrison Jr. because you drafted him to be your wide receiver 1 or 2.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, or Brian Thomas Jr. Which one would you
Thomas Jr.
Me too. Simple.
I think Brian Thomas Jr. is the 2nd target in Jacksonville behind Evan Ingram, which makes him wide receiver 1 in my opinion.
Me too. We agree.
Steelers, Broncos. I've
got to start Justin.
Justin Fields. Got to start Justin Fields.
Yeah, he's an auto start.
You have, if you're starting Fields, I think you have to start Pickens as well. I forgot a player on here.
And Najee Harris. You forgot Jalen Warren. And you got to start Jalen Harris or Jalen Harris. I put them together. If you could just mix Jalen Warren and Najee Harris together,
you'd have the best running back.
There we go. Let's do it.
Like put them together. Like make them the same person. But
let's fuse them. Let's fuse Pokemon fusions. We can fuse people together all the time. Let's get Elon Musk. I bet you.
Make it happen.
Bet you someone. Anyway, Najee Harris is a must start for me, and I can't believe I actually sent out a trade offer for him in a league last night, and it's gross, but that's just the way their offense is going to run. They're going to utilize Najee Harris as much as they possibly can, and it's disgusting. Why did you write out my boy Javonte Williams?
Because he's a bum and he's never been good in his life. 3 points last week.
Yeah.
Hit 8 carries. They're not giving him the ball. They gave Jaleel McLaughlin more carries with 10. But Jaleel McLaughlin at least had 5 receptions for 1 yard.
Jaleel's the guy.
1 yard. He had 5.8 points.
Okay, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not starting either of their running backs. In fact, I'm not starting anybody on the Broncos offense.
Oh, okay.
Including Courtland Sutton.
Read them all. all.
That's the thing. Do we need to read them? Because they're not factored. Like, nobody is starting these people. Nobody should be starting these people.
Someone's starting Sutton. Somebody is.
Okay. You should not be starting Sutton. I'm sorry.
Boom. Read them.
Look at what the Steelers defense did to the Falcons last week.
Was that more on Kirk Cousins not being comfortable? Or was that more on the Steelers defense?
So you expect Bo Nix to be better?
No, I don't expect him to be better. I'm just asking. Do you think that was? I'm asking you a question. Was that more of Kirk Cousins or was that more of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense?
I think it could be a mixture of both. But if that's what the Steelers defense is doing to Kirk Cousins, though, I don't foresee Bo Nix outplaying Kirk Cousins 1 week later.
I can't wait till we get the Falcons game. I just can't wait.
Next up, Chiefs, Bengals. This is the game of the week. And in fact, Jamar Chase just said that he believes the Bengals are still the best team in the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl.
And the Chiefs or the Bengals said that Xavier Worthy doesn't know how to do anything but run straight.
Run fast.
Oh, run fast?
Can't do anything else other than run fast.
All right.
So, dude is fast. Saw him do his 40 in person. That he is fast. But okay, so in this game, I don't think T. Higgins is gonna play this week. By the way,
Neither do I.
I don't think you're starting T. Higgins, but Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Are you starting those two this week? Like,
I'm starting
Chase. Chase, right?
I'm starting Chase. There ain't no way I'm starting Joe Burrow in any format. First off, I'm not rostering him anywhere. Second off, I don't think he has the upside right now with missing T. Higgins. And this is where people want to maybe come at me in a weird way. Missing T. Higgins is a big deal, guys. We saw it.
It's more than missing T. Higgins. You're also missing Tyler Boyd. You don't have a Tyler Boyd anymore.
You just stole my point because I was going to say, if without T. Higgins, you don't have that Tyler Boyd clutch anymore. The crutch. You thought Jermaine Burton was going to be a thing, but he's not as of yet. Everyone thought this. Andre, can't even pronounce this guy's last name, was going to be a thing. He clearly was not. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are clearly missed with Joe Burrow. And I'm not saying Joe Burrow's a fraud because I think he's an excellent quarterback. He just needs help. And I don't think his coach is helping him. Have you ever been happy with the way that offense is run, even when they were on full cylinders? No, because they were so slow. They're slow pace. They're always one of the slowest pace offenses in the league, which equals less plays, which equals less points. I just wish they would do something to speed it up and get in a rhythm. It felt like last week they were in no rhythm. They couldn't figure anything out. And I'm not going to panic and worry about them. But I'll tell you this, if you're highlighting Zach Moss right now, I think he's the key to victory moving forward, the whole running game. They need to get Zach Moss involved. I think he's a must start. I like Zach Moss. I've always liked Zach Moss over Zach Chase Brown. But there's a world where those two guys, if you sprinkle in Chase Brown, just beat them up, man. Just run the ball down people's throat and then use Chase in a different way. Because I don't think they're going to do it on the air.
I had Zach highlighted because he did finish with 14 fantasy points last week. He only had 9 carries for 44 yards, almost averaging 5 yards a carry, which is actually pretty solid. But he got a touchdown, so that helps him. Without that touchdown, he's looking at 8 points. He is involved in the passing game with 4 targets, 2 receptions. So that does look good. He's being valued more than Chase Brown is in that offense, which is what we said at the start of the season, is that Zach Moss will lead this offense to start. Chase Brown might take it over, but I think if Zach Moss keeps a foot on it, he's going to keep that job. Flip side, Chiefs, you're starting Mahomes, you're starting Rice, you're starting Kelsey, you're starting Pacheco.
Yep.
Are you starting Worthy this week?
Nope.
Or are you cautious about Worthy?
Cautious. I'm cautious. I'm still starting Worthy if I have to, just because in some dynasty leagues I just have to. But
that's what cautious is. I'm worried about him, but if I have to start him, I'm going to start him.
And he has the potential. We saw it last week on 3 touches to score a bajillion points. And he has that potential week after week after week. He's not like a Mecole Hardman or guys in the past where it's like, oh, man, is this guy really good? Or is this guy worth anything? No, he is a playmaker, and I think he looked like a professional football player. That being said, are they even going to utilize him the way he's supposed to be utilized? You have Rashee Rice slipping into that Travis Kelce role, which more people will jump on this bandwagon as they watch football. He's running Travis Kelce's routes. Travis Kelce's more taking a back end selection. I'm more cautious of Travis Kelce than anyone on this team. I want to see him get involved. He's a must start. You drafted him to, but I'm very cautious. But I'm still starting him without caution.
Do you think
But,
Travis Kelce is going to have that Kyle Pitts effect of we had last year? Like at a certain point, we were like, okay, like you can drop Travis Kelce.
I don't think it'll ever get to that point. I hope not, at least. But I'm getting to the point where I don't expect 20-point games anymore. I
That's fair.
expect 15-point games.
And that still puts you top 5 tight end in the league. So
yeah, I expect him. If I get 12, 15
points
out
would
of
have
Kelce,
been tight end 2 last week. So
it used to be we wanted 40, 30, 25 out of Kelce. Now we're temporary expectations on to 15. Because to be fair, they didn't have a Rashee Rice for the past couple of years or Xavier Worthy. They just had a bunch of Christian Watsons and Christian Watson. Is that one guy? Is it Justin Watson? Justin Watson,
Juju,
and a bunch of bums. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. Like now
Tyreek
they have real
Hill.
playmakers. Yeah. Well, Tyreek. Well, when Tyreek was there, they didn't have anyone else. They had Tyreek and Kelce.
Yeah. All right. 4 seconds. We'll get to the prime time game. Bears, Texans on Sunday Night Football. We got the Bears in all orange. We got the Texans in all white. This will be an interesting game to see visually. I feel like that Bears orange helmet, I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather them have like a white helmet than an orange helmet, but that's neither here nor there. Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet. All the things that we said all offseason. Wow, this is going to be a great offense. Roma Dunze is not projected any points. I'm pretty sure he is going to not play this week. Keenan Allen's dealing with a heel issue. That could be an issue. DJ Moore had a slight hiccup, but I think he's going to play.
Yep.
I think DJ start on this team this week for the Bears.
I would start Keenan Allen. I'm not ready to bench him yet. Even with that heel injury, he was still producing targets. He wasn't catching them mainly because Caleb Williams was running for his life half the game. If they can't protect
11 targets last week.
Yeah, he had 11. I know. He was still getting the targets. That's why I'm starting him still. And people are going to make fun of him or this and that. He was getting the targets, but the targets weren't productive because Caleb Williams he couldn't read a defense. He didn't know what he was doing. Let's be honest. He was learning on the job. I'm expecting big things from Caleb Williams this year. I'm not starting him ever until I see something. He had 92 total passing yards, which is pathetic from any quarterback. I don't remember Bustin Fields ever throwing for only 92 yards. So this is what I'll say. Bears fans, I'm sorry. You guys think you always draft the best quarterback of all time, and it never works out. It's starting to look like that's the case here, but it's only week 1, guys. Let's chill. Let's give Caleb some room. Let's give him some blocking, and we'll see how it goes, but I'm not starting Caleb Williams.
Not starting Caleb Williams. I'm cautious about DeAndre Swift. You're only playing him if you win 0 RB, and he's your RB1. We're looking at this guy in a lot of leagues. Only 4 points last week. The Texans defense held Jonathan Taylor pretty low last week, so I'm very concerned about DeAndre Swift this week. Flip side, you're starting CJ Stroud. You're starting Joe Mixon. You're starting Stephon Diggs, like we have said all off season.
Well, I think everyone's starting. No, but let's not we've been victory lapping too much. It's week 1.
I know,
week 2, guys.
I know, but he's not gone. That's the thing. He's not gone. He's not dead. He's gonna destroy the Bears defense. And I think you even start Nico Collins.
Yeah, you start Nico Collins, and you can start Dalton Schultz. You can start this whole offense because you don't know. It's week 2. We don't know where it's going to go. I think you could start the entire offense, period, until further notice. I also think this might be an almost upset. Not to steal anything from the footballers, but this might be an almost upset. I can see a situation where the Bears cover and they play good defense because their defense was good last week. It's what we're all clowning the Bears. Their defense is actually legit.
The Bears on the road.
I'm just saying they might. I said almost. They'll cover. I think they'll cover. And if you're a betting man or a betting woman, throw some cash on the Bears.
What is the line?
I don't know what the line is, and I don't care what the line is.
It's
got to be like 8.5 or 7.5, right? It's got to be.
I'll get you that.
It's got to be. But you got to remember, guys, this is professional football. This isn't college. Blowouts don't happen too often. Games are pretty close. What is it?
6.5. 1 touchdown.
Yeah. I'm standing with it. Beat
Okay.
the Bears.
Next up, Eagles, Falcons. Eagles are coming home from Brazil. Let's start with the Eagles on the side. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. You are starting all 4 of those players. You shouldn't be starting Jahan Dotson. You shouldn't even be rostering Jahan Dotson at this point.
Nope.
Are you starting Dallas Goedert?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Fair enough. Flip side, Falcons, Kirk Cousins. I don't think you're starting. He's not. You didn't draft him to start. You drafted him to be your backup and hope that he comes back. However, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, you are starting this week. Everybody else, I don't think it's worth it.
We got primetime Kirk, baby. That means I'm not starting any of these guys, but I understand if you are. Bijan's an exception because he's a running back. Starting him. I am cautious about Drake London this week, and I am cautious about Kyle Pitts this week.
Okay.
You don't have to be. You can keep him green.
No, I agree. I forgot. It's primetime Kirk.
It's
on
primetime Kirk.
Prime time. So
we're going against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bijan's the only guy.
Yeah, who are coming off of a huge win against the Packers, coming home on Monday Night Football. They have a legit defense. You saw how fast and how furious they were against Jordan Love and getting that pass rush in. You think Kirk Cousins with a bum ankle is going to, Achilles, is going to be able to run away and get some space and make these moves and make these throws to Drake London and Kyle Pitts? I don't see it happen this week, guys. I know you're going to start London. I know you're going to start Pitts because you have to. But I wouldn't expect, if you need Pitts and London to score you like 15 points going into the night, I just need 15 points. Good luck, pal, because primetime Kirk is in, and I'm not believing in primetime Kirk at all on the road in Philadelphia. Ain't no way. I
agree with you. I really do. So, well, that's every game from this weekend, all 16 of the games. So be sure to catch us on Tuesday for priority waivers. We'll help you try to figure out what happened from this weekend and get you all your new guys. So be sure to follow us, OUSFFPOD, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, X, YouTube, all the places. Follow Josh Kimmel, OUS. Follow me, Justin Hourly. Don't follow Josh, whatever. But yeah, guys, be sure to check out our weekly rankings at OUSFFPOD.com. But until Tuesday, enjoy your weekends. Enjoy football. Football is back. We're loving it. But see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.